Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two American rye whiskeys. Now, this is Old Overholt straight rye whiskey, originated in Pennsylvania. See the Keystone. Pennsylvania, the Keystone State in 1810, but it was later bought by the Beam Company, and now it is produced in Kentucky by James B. Beam Distilling Company. Kentucky straight rye whiskey, aged 4 years, non-chill filtered, 86 proof. This is the current version, the red cap current version from 2022. I have two previous versions, the one they made up until 2020 and the one they made for 2 years, 2020 to 2022. All right, I don't know why they kept changing it, but they did. Herbie, hello, hi to you. Now, thanks for watching. Here is the competitor, Bulleit Rye. 95 rye, frontier whiskey, straight American rye whiskey. And it is from Indiana. It's produced in Indiana for Bulleit, or Diageo, the owner. But this was introduced in 2011. So it's been on the market 12 years. It's in this medicine shape, it's shaped like a medicine bottle. Old style whiskey bottles were shaped like that. It's embossed Bulleit Rye, frontier whiskey. I guess Indiana was the frontier back in 1801 or something like that. Even 1811, the Battle of Tippecanoe. But it's not the frontier now. Okay, distilled spirits. 90 proof. There's no age statement that I can find. Made using 95% rye, and it's 5% malted barley. Let's check. Let's double check, because sometimes they put the age statement so tiny. Distilled in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Bottled by Bulleit in Louisville, Kentucky. So see what I'm saying? It's made for them. It's not made by them. Why don't they make the rye whiskey in Kentucky? I don't know. That's just some business arrangement they made. I guess they get it cheaper from Indiana. Lawrenceburg, the old Seagram's distillery. Real cork. What's that? Particle board cork. You can see that. Okay. I don't know why I'm putting it back up. All right. Forgot to take my item. Okay. So it's the competitor here. 86 proof, 90 proof, 43% alcohol. This is not sealing too tight, that's for sure. 46% alcohol versus, 43% alcohol versus 45. It's not a big difference, 43 versus 45, but we'll see. Brown bottle, that's good. Brown glass is good. It protects it from the light. You can tell this is the standard Jim Beam economy shaped bottle. You see this for Old Overholt. The same bottle is used for Old Crow, for Old Granddad Bottle and Bond. It's used for Beam's 8-star. And probably some others. Okay. Maybe some blended whiskeys that they make besides, I know Beam's 8-star is their big blended whiskey, but they probably make some others besides that. Might be used for Kessler, but I don't have that size bottle for Kessler. I have a different Kessler size. Got the handle. because it was cheaper per ounce. So it was right there at Dordmax. Had to get the level straight. Now, Walmart had a great deal on this. See, normally this will run you about $23. Walmart had it for 10. I wasn't really I didn't have Bulleit on my to buy immediately list, but I was planning to buy it. How can you drink early morning? Oh, well, you get used to it. Okay. All right. I'm not drinking anyway. I'm just tasting it. I wouldn't drink whiskey at 5:41 a.m. That would be kind of crazy, but it's really not when you do it. It wouldn't drink whiskey at 5:41 a.m. That would be kind of crazy, but it's really not when you do it. It's the amount. And if you don't do a lot, then you could get away with it. If you're chugging all day long, well, you're just going to run into trouble. It's like eating chocolate cake. You eat too much, you're going to have trouble. Okay, too much sugar, too much fat. Let's see, Total Wine and More. But like I said, I got it at Walmart for $10. Crazy, huh? I think they had one bottle left. So I was like, I'm glad I saw it. If I'd have gone an hour later on, they haven't been running any sales the last 6 months. So I guess the heyday of that is over. But you take advantage when you can. Bulleit Rye. Here we go. Total Wine's website for the fact that it takes forever for it to load up. It's real slow. Walmart's fast. Although Total Wine's a little more user friendly than Walmart. Walmart's website's kind of clunky, and sometimes a little inaccurate. $22.99. I said it. $23. So $23, and I got it for 10. Well, can't complain about that, can we? The appearance is the same. It's that copper or tan appearance. I'm not sure if it's copper or tan, or if there's a real big difference between copper and tan. Nice looking, huh? Yeah, mild aroma, a little mild spice, like rye bread crust. I never buy rye bread. I ought to buy it sometimes, though, huh? Good with butter on it. Did buy some bread at Aldi yesterday. Their white bread. Their white bread is really good. I don't know who makes it. Probably Flowers Bakery. They use some alias names. Can't find out. There's a huge bakery in New Orleans, right there off of Highway 90, U.S. Highway 90, and they're probably making most of the Gulf Coast bread. And then there's a huge coffee mill right on the other side, south side of the highway from there, and that's the biggest coffee mill in America. That one and the other one further east on the old 90, Folgers. You look on Folgers' website, it says about us, and it shows the two coffee mills in New Orleans. One was built in 1966, and the other one was built, I don't remember. I think one they bought from somebody. Like they had the one in 66, and then they acquired another one, the one further west next to the industrial canal. But if you drive over there with your windows down at night, or even during the day, sometimes you can smell the coffee roasting, the fresh coffee. It smells great. Lazarus says cheers. Cheers to you. Okay, so aroma wise, Yeah, it's not too much difference. They both smell like kind of light um, rye bread crust. I don't know. It's not that different. Yeah. So on appearance, they're the same. Aroma, they're the same. Price, $5 difference. So $4 difference. Sorry, a $4 difference. Is it going to be $4 better? I don't. My prediction is no. I can't see how it would be $4 better, but it's possible. Drugi says, "Good morning, brother. I'm enjoying my coffee while fixing a broken water main. Oh man, in town. Cheers and have a good Sunday. You too. Well, I'm sorry you got to do that, but I guess that's your job. I just drank Bud Light 8 a day, 2 times a week. Uh-huh. 16 a week. That's not a lot. All right, not a lot to me. All right, cheers. Time to taste. Yeah, it just tastes like standard rye whiskey. And I could, the Bulleit Rye is 95% rye, 5% malted barley, 90 proof. The Dickel Rye, 95% rye, 5% malted barley. No age statement, no age statement. Is it the same product? It could be the same base, but the Dickel is chill filtered and charcoal mellowed. I don't know if this is charcoal mellowed, drip through charcoal. They bring it down to Kentucky and drip it through the charcoal. George Dickel might have a little flavoring added because they look the same in appearance, which is why it's not straight rye. And this one is straight rye, so would not be allowed to have flavoring added. But if they are different, they're not much different, and the price is about the same. So you know, what should you buy? George Dickel or Bulleit? Buy whatever one's cheaper. I say. New Year's is coming. Will you drink champagne? Maybe. I was thinking about doing a champagne hangout, but I don't know. People usually doing stuff on New Year's Eve. I'm not. I go to church, but but it's not a holy day of obligation this year, so I probably won't go. But it's just not safe out there. We have a lot of fog this time of year, and the fireworks make it worse. And there's a lot of people drinking and driving. I don't know. I'd rather just not do it. I'm just telling. I've gone out for New Year's many times, and it was fine, but I'm not interested in it. I'm not going to pretend like I am. I'm not. Um, yeah, the flavor with these is not the same. This is more pronounced, stronger, more bready, more bread crust, more rye bread crust. It's a fuller flavor. It's not necessarily a better flavor, but there's more flavor. See, so it's you get more excitement if you want to call it that. This one is a little drab, which is making me think it must be the old Overholt. All right, I'm not sure. Is old Overholt pretty good? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just comparatively, it doesn't hold up that well. Now, when I did old Overholts versus each other, the 3 bottles I have, yeah, that was nearly impossible to do, and I got it wrong once. So that was very tough. But against the other brands, I haven't gotten it wrong yet, and maybe I won't get it wrong. Vitamin C is has some spiciness to it, mintiness to it, medium body. silky, mild, mellow, no bad bite. It's fine. It's well made. Some people that get on the internet talking about it's cheap trash and you shouldn't buy it and it's a budget rye from Beam and it's garbage and all. That's just hype or I don't know what that is. Honestly, I don't know what they're talking about. I mean, yeah, I know it's less than 20. I know it's less than $20 a bottle, as evidenced by the fact that I bought it. So I kind of know what the price is. But it tastes good. Now, I wish Trader Joe's made a rye whiskey. Maybe they do. Well, they don't actually make anything. You know what I'm saying? I wish they sold a rye whiskey. Everything they get is procured, just like Walmart. They might have a Walmart brand, but they don't make it because they're only a retailer. All right, same thing with Trader Joe's. So when people say Trader Joe's makes good potato chips, well, they don't mean that they make it. They mean that they sell it. But I think everybody grasps that fact. 'Tis the season for the pipes to be freezing. Maybe I'll add some Bulleit to my coffee later. Yeah, pipes freezing. In Louisiana we have 40. Let's see, 62. Yeah, 46 more days to worry about that. Because once January ends, the chances of having a deep freeze and worrying about the pipes is basically impossible. I mean, it can happen, but the chances are so low. You can kind of relax because once February arrives, it starts warming up. And then it warms up, every week that goes by is getting warmer, you see. Do you have cold days in March? Yes. Miserably cold, raining, windy, 50 degrees, but you say, well, that's 50 degrees. It's not going to, it's got to get below 32. And sometimes here we go a whole winter time and maybe have one day where it gets to 31. I remember a few years ago, we had one day in the winter where it got below 32. It got to freezing for 2 hours. Got below freezing for 2 hours. Well, obviously that's not going to freeze a pipe. Wouldn't even freeze a bowl of water. But might get some crystals in it. So yeah, let's hope for no freezing. This channel supports global warming. All right, because we like hot weather. All right. And that's our slogan, melt, baby, melt. Okay, do I watch Whiskey Vault? No, I don't. I don't watch that channel. How old are you, Ronald? Says some guy. Was just curious because you look to be around my parents' age. Well, how old are your parents? Next. What's next? Cognac? No. When rye is over, when rye ends, which will end this week, unless things go awry, but it should end this week around Wednesday or Thursday. Then we're bringing in bourbon, and I have an exciting bourbon. You'll never guess what it is, but I have an exciting bourbon coming in. It's a straight bourbon, and it's no longer produced. Oh, in their late 40s. Well, I got them beat, but they'll catch up with me. Yeah, you can't catch up with somebody. Get ready for the bourbon series coming up. And I have so many bourbons that it's not even funny. It's a joke in a way but you might say, well, why'd you buy so many? Oh, I got to do this challenge. What am I saying? That's got to be the Bulleit. It's got more flavor, got more character, got more oomph. Second defeat. It's the old Overholt. This is a shock. I'm very shocked. And I wasn't being careless. And you said, well, you were talking about other things. Yeah, but before I did that, I was being careful. And you could see it right from the start. I was saying they don't taste the same. And I thought the drab one would have been the old Overholt. But no. And this is the importance of doing a blind taste test. Every day of my life, I think I watch somebody do a beer comparison or a wine comparison. But it's not blind. They just pour the beer, pour the other beer, and they're looking at And they tell you why one is better than the other. And oh, it's so easy to tell them apart and so forth. I say, yeah, why don't you do it blind? You know, you say you can tell them apart. You just know each product, but we don't really know that. Not to say the person's lying. It's probably because they don't even know that. Do a blind taste test. Then we'll find out if you're on the right track. We won't find out completely because you need to replicate it. You really have to do it 10 times in a row over a period of days to really establish any reliability. But then, of course, that's so difficult to do and people are busy, and I understand that. But at least do it once, which will, it should establish validity. It should be testing what you're trying to test. You don't know which is which. You claim you know which is which by smelling and tasting, but let's see that. Let's demonstrate it. And it can be done. People will tell me, oh, I can't do a blind taste test because my wife don't want to help me. She thinks it's silly, or I don't have a wife. I'm alone at the time, and so forth. Well, that's not really a reason, because all you got to do is put tags below the glasses, which I do. Mix them up real well where you forget which is which, and you could do that if you're careful. It's like playing that, where's the peanut under the cap, but then you're trying to forget where the peanut under the cap is. You get it well mixed, and then you show us how wonderful you are at telling them apart. And then you're going to find out that you may not be as good as you think, because I found out it's very difficult. Now, of course, some people do taste challenges that are nonsensical, that make no sense. And I even saw comments, which I agreed with, people saying, well, what's the point of taste challenging Guinness Extra Stout with Miller High Life? One's an ale, one's a lager, one's black or dark brown, one's clear and straw gold. This is 5.6. It's 4.6. They don't taste the same in any way. They don't look the same and they don't smell the same. And so what is the point of that? There is no point. So if you're going to do a blind taste test, at least have it make sense. A blind taste test is used to differentiate similar products. All right. It's like you're not going to mix up a tomato with an apple. You know, so there would be no point to that. It's like, oh, I'm going to see if I could tell a tomato from an apple. You know, intelligence should play a role in some of these things. You know, logic and so forth. And I've had people ask me, why don't you do a rye whiskey against a scotch? No, I would never do that. They're not the same class of whiskey. I mean, they're whiskey, all right, but they're not the same type. You would never confuse the two, and there would be no point to it. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. All right, so let's go to the comments. I'm sorry I got it wrong, but that's the whole nature of the blind taste test. You're not going to get it right 100% of the time. If you think you are, you're wrong. You're not going to. It's just as simple as that. Good morning, Jay. Love your content. What time is it in Louisiana? Says Joe. About 6 a.m. Central. Wow, rye has been interesting so far. It has been very interesting. It's always interesting. Believe me, it's always interesting. All those ryes on the rock are exceptional. I've never had it on the rocks. Will you do a Johnny Walker revisited before the end of the year? No. Nope. But I'll be getting back to it next year in the Scotch Taste Challenge series. Oh, and Johnny Walker was everywhere on my trip last month. I mean, every liquor store, well, that's well, we knew that already, right? Every liquor store in the world is going to have Johnny Walker, red label, black label, double black, blue label up on the top shelf in the gift box. You're welcome. Gibraltar had it much cheaper, $12.99 for Johnny Walker, red label. In England, it was like $16.99, but over here it's like 20, 21, 22, 23. Well, Well, of course, they have to ship it across the ocean to Louisiana, but they got to ship it to Gibraltar. That's got to be some cost. So nobody can figure out. There's all kind of theories people have. I was reading on the internet why Gibraltar has such low liquor prices. They got tourists that go there just. They got tourists literally that go to Gibraltar just to buy liquor. They might load it up on their sailboat and take off, and do whatever they're doing with it. But of course, they go out to eat at one of the nice restaurants and walk around the promenade and all that because it's very nice. But I love to see someone who is a beer snob drink cheap beer in a blind taste test and say that they prefer the cheap one. Kind of invalidates their snobbery. Yeah, it happens a lot, but it doesn't really. No, actually, it doesn't happen a lot because they won't do it. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna subject themselves to a blind taste test because then they could look silly. So they'll just say, "I don't need to do that. I know my beer." That's why you won't do it because you know it. All right. Well, see y'all later. Cheers. We'll be back in 3.5 hours with Super Sunday.